Welcome to the Susan Brender Show. It's all about you, featuring shows on health and wellness, the performing arts, politics, and people who inspire you to be your very best. And now, here's Susan Brender.
I'm Susan Brender, and this is the Susan Brender Show. Today I have the privilege of interviewing the president and CEO of Chimp Food. His name is Scott Joseph, and he says, feeling as young and vibrant as a teenager is how I got to be the president and CEO of Chimp Food. You described yourself at the age of 53. Now, maybe it's a couple of years ago, but let's talk a little bit about your business and all the things you're involved in. So I want to welcome to the Susan Brender Show, Scott Joseph.
Hey, Susan, thanks for having me.
Now, Scott, you've generated over $12 million in sales because you became overweight and unhealthy? I mean, how did that happen?
Well, I think it's the opposite. As I was creating businesses and build companies, I then became overweight, unhealthy, and a list of other things, but that's the short list of it.
So you studied nutrition, did you not?
I did.
So why nutrition? I mean, there are so many things that you could have studied and sort of wrapped yourself around, but nutrition, how did that come about?
I take health seriously. I think health is the number one most important thing to me. Sometimes I tell myself if I don't have a job, but I'm still healthy, I'll take that. If I don't have any money, I would still be okay as long as I'm healthy. If I have, my arm gets cut off, well, as long as I'm still healthy, I'm okay. If my wife divorces me, well, that's okay as long as I'm healthy. So I think to me it was just really the number one priority. I just always wanted to be healthy and feel good and feel alive. As long as I have that, gosh, I can do anything I want to do.
Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the name of your company and the fact that it's similarities with chimpanzees. I mean, that is really an unusual name. But first, let me ask you this. Now that you've learned about good nutrition, why don't you give our audience a little bit of your information of how you stay healthy? Because you know quite a bit about that. So, how does our audience stay healthy? What's your suggestions?
Of course, eat like you should, eat like a chimp. I know it may sound funny, but if you think about it, animals in nature are 100% healthy. So that's where we should look to get our health from. Animals do not get heart attacks, strokes, cancers, diabetes, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, headaches, colds, flus, acne, asthma, and on and on and on. And even mental diseases as well. You know, animals in nature don't get schizophrenia, they don't get ADD, anxiety, bipolar, depression. Animals in nature, and that's the way we're made to be 100% perfectly healthy.
Now, I don't want to be controversial too much, but I have to ask you, how do you know that? Is there a science behind it? Has there been all kinds of evidence-based information saying that chimpanzees and other animals don't have all those diseases you mentioned?
Sure, we can start with chimpanzees. If you remember Jane Goodall back in the 1960s and 70s, and even still today, she's still vastly involved with chimpanzees. She studies them, and she's watched them for 30 years out there in the jungle and never had an issue. But bigger than her, there's a whole area of study called primatologists. Primatologists, they study primates, which are chimps, orangutans, gorillas, and humans. We are also primates. So through those studies and through those books and readings, it's pretty easy to figure out they just don't get sick. And of course, there's people who study birds, there's people who study elephants, there's people who study fish, insects, amphibians, reptiles, and none of these diseases are reported in any research I've found. But it only makes sense. We really don't get diseases. What happens is we eat the wrong foods, our bodies are deprived of things that they need, or they get too much of what we don't need, our bodies react, and then doctors will call it, oh, well, all of those symptoms are a heart attack. All of those symptoms are a stroke. But they always start with first doing the wrong thing, eating the wrong things. These are all called diet-related diseases. When we eat the wrong things, our bodies react and we get a disease. Again, we don't just get diseases. We don't get cancer. It doesn't fall out of the sky. We eat the wrong foods and we create an environment for cancer just to run rampant in our bodies. Or we eat meat and it plaques up our vessels and now we get heart attacks or strokes. We eat too much sugar, we kill our pancreas, and we get diabetes.
So you're saying that you learned quite a bit about health and nutrition, and after you actually learned about your diet, you lost nearly 100 pounds?
In about 2 months.
Now, okay, so you told us about some of the foods that you ate, but let's hear your story. There must be something that you could tell our audience about how you did it and how it made you feel. Yeah,
it was very simple. I realized that animals, and if you look at what is health, if we want to be vibrant, you have to look at three. I look at three things. Number one is you feel great and alive and loaded with energy every single day. Mm-hmm. And every single animal on earth that you've ever seen is alive and vibrant. Again, in nature. I'm not talking about our dogs and our cats and our gerbils. Mm-hmm. In nature. Number two is every animal you've ever seen in nature is always lean and thin. You've never seen an overweight bird, an overweight fish, an overweight lizard, or a fly, or a bug, or a beetle, or a snake, or a turtle. Every animal is always thin and lean. And thirdly is disease and illness. Animals in nature do not get diet-related diseases and illnesses because they all just naturally eat the right diet. Mm-hmm. So if you take those three things, that's what health is. So I realized that animals have it, we don't. There's about 7 billion people on Earth. They're littered with illness and diseases. And there's 70 billion animals that have zero illness and disease, overweight, obesity, and lack of energy. So by realizing our closest living relative is a chimpanzee, our DNA is 98.6. If we take away the sense of smell, which is half of the difference, we're actually about 99.3% like a chimpanzee. Our digestive systems are exactly like a chimpanzee. Our immune system is exactly like a chimpanzee. But remember, they're loaded with energy, they're lean as can be, and they never get sick. So I realized that chimpanzees eat very, very simple. This is a great thing for your audience to write down. Chimpanzees eat 60% fruit, 20% green leafy vegetables, much like I call them salads. They eat 5% blossoming vegetables, which are like broccoli, cauliflower, squash, zucchini, pumpkin. They eat 10% nuts and 5% seeds, like sesame seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, poppy seeds, things like that. So if you take that, there's your answer. Mm-hmm. That is your answer. That is the ultimate diet, I believe, for according to animals. Mm-hmm. That is the ultimate diet for human beings. Yeah. That's it. So to look at it in an easier sense of the word, chimpanzees wake up at the break of dawn and they start eating fruits. They eat fruits all day long till around noon. And then they crash out and they take a little siesta, a little nap for about an hour. And when they wake up at 1 o'clock, they walk along the floor of the jungle just grabbing leaves. And they're eating, again, salads. And around 4 or 5 o'clock, they're all done eating. The sun starts setting. They go up to the trees and they make them a bed and they crash out. Throughout the day, they nibble on nuts and seeds. And, of course, when they eat the whole fruit, if you eat a whole apple, you get the seeds. You eat a whole orange, you get the seeds. And eat the strawberries, you're eating the seeds. So that's an easy way of looking at it. Eat fruit all day, salads all afternoon, nibble on nuts and seeds, don't eat after 6 o'clock at night. Chimps are afraid of water. They really don't need any water. Most animals drink hardly any water whatsoever. Fruits and vegetables are loaded with water. Chimps are scared of water. They don't swim. They don't go near water.
So now, hold on. Let's talk a little bit about your food. You call it, of course, chimp food, and it sort of makes sense that it's made up of fruits and veggies and all the seeds and all of those things. So I want you to tell our audience about what your food is made of and how you do it. I mean, is it in a bottle? Is it in a case? How did they find your food, and what is it made of?
Sure, it's exactly what I just told you. It's fruit, vegetables, nuts, and seeds that closely mimics the natural diet of wild chimpanzees. Exactly what I said. So we took 5 different fruits, such as apples, oranges, bananas, peaches, and watermelon. We took 5 different vegetables, such as broccoli, zucchini, squash, pumpkin, arugula. We then took 5 different berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, and cranberries. 5 different nuts, such as almonds, cashews, pecan, pistachios, and walnuts. 5 different seeds, like I mentioned just a minute ago. We took 25 different foods, fruits, berries, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. By definition, berries are fruits. However, berries are way better than almost every single fruit on earth, because berries are deep and rich in color. Berries are that same color all the way through. Nothing can touch berries. Strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cranberries, mulberries, on and on. So I took 25 foods. I weighed and portioned accordingly to a chimpanzee's natural diet. I threw them all into a blender. The entire orange, including the peel. The entire pineapple, including the husk. You think an animal sees a pineapple and whips out a knife and cuts out that beautiful husk?
Well, they could be trained, maybe, but no, I don't think so.
They bite right into it. You think they open up a pineapple and they open up a watermelon and eat only the pink part? No, the best part of a watermelon's the green part. So we throw it all in there, the whole watermelon, the whole pumpkin, the whole mango, the orange, the apple, the banana with the peel, the apple with the stem, the grapes with the little vines that hold it all together. We throw it all into a blender, we grind it up, and then it comes out to be a 16-ounce drink. So you're drinking real, raw, whole food, including the peels, the pulp, the seeds, the skins, the rinds, the husks, all of it. There's no food on earth like this. It's the best food on earth.
Yeah. Now, how do people find your food? Is it in supermarkets? Is it in stores? How do they get it? And is it all over the country, all over the world?
Well, we're based out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and right now we're only in the Whole Foods in our area down here in Florida, and we're in some smaller other stores down here in Florida. And we're trying to reach out. We're a young company. We've only been on the shelves for about 6 or 7 months now. And we're lucky enough to be in Whole Foods. We're coming down in Costco shortly, and we're on Amazon. So anyone can buy our product from anywhere as long as you get onto Amazon. But to buy it on the shelves, Whole Foods, and a couple other smaller places down here in Florida.
Now, Scott, this is important. When young children are taught to eat, they're given, of course, baby food at the beginning of their lives, and then, unfortunately, parents are in such a rush, and there's so much going on in the lives of families today that they go to places like, you name it, McDonald's, Burger King, places of that nature. Now, if you were able to reach the educators in schools and hospitals, do you think that there would be a way to get children interested in eating like this and enjoying your food? Sure.
Children are the easiest ones at all. I mean, children are way easier than adults are, especially if you tell them how beautiful and wonderful and cuddly animals are, and why do we want to hurt them and eat them. A lot of kids will grab onto that really quickly. But if you go according to nature, we should be breastfeeding our kids till they're around 2 years old. At 2 years old, they start growing teeth. That's when they're ready for food. Right then and there, we should feed them fruits all morning long, let them take a nap at noon, and all afternoon give them salads. And I'm sure they could munch on carrots and other things like that, and get them nibbling on nuts and seeds. I think kids are the easiest way. And again, if you have trouble eating those kind of foods and preparing them, my product, Chimp Food, in 16-ounce bottles will certainly do the trick.
Interesting. Now, also, we just talked about education or educating young kids at the beginning of their lives, because that's the way to kind of turn them on to your food and healthy foods. Now, somehow there is something missing in the way we live, and that is that we're so, again, busy and occupied with so many things that we forget that nutrition is one of the most important things to fight disease. Now, if you were standing in front of an audience as we speak, I know you talked a lot about your product, but give me another scenario that you think would get people who don't have much time to get very excited about Chimp Food.
I think you have to realize that right now an average American household is dealing with 9 different health issues. 25% you're going to die of a heart attack. 25% you're going to die of cancer. 5% you're going to die of a stroke. And when you see how devastating headaches are, migraines can be, and depression and anxiety, and how bad Parkinson's and Alzheimer's can be, and how devastating acne is to a child, or even the pain we have to go through of gum disease and cataracts and osteoporosis and all kinds of arthritis is a crippling disease nowadays. I can't imagine how people wouldn't put it a little bit more in the forefront. But I think the easiest way, getting back to busy people, we just have to go out and buy fruits and eat them. What could be easier than eating a banana? Mm-hmm. What could be easier than eating grapes? What could be easier than eating a peach or a pear? Right. That's what I almost don't get it. You can buy a lettuce, a salad. You just take a head of lettuce, or you can buy it in a bag now. You pour it in a bowl and eat it. Yeah. I don't know how much easier nuts and seeds can be. Tell me what is hard about taking nuts and seeds and putting them in a Tupperware and eating them all day. Right. What is hard about taking a banana and throwing them in a little bag and carrying them, bananas and apples and oranges? Mm-hmm. And these new little ones, what are those new little oranges, cutesies or cuties? Mm-hmm. God, those things just peel right up in 2 seconds now. Mm-hmm. And, we have all these foods readily available. You can go to most grocery stores and they have fruit already cut up into bite-sized chunks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, you just mentioned that you recommend when you eat fruit to also eat the peel. Now, the peel is very bitter. So how do you make that taste better? Because otherwise, I can't explain how I would be turned on to something that is so bitter.
Well, one thing let's all realize, the majority of all the nutrients are in the peels. Let's take an apple, for example. The peel is bright red, the rest of it's white. Mm-hmm. Let's look at a banana. The outside is bright yellow, the rest of it's white. That's the best part. We have to understand that. Just like with a watermelon. Watermelons are awesome, but the pink stuff is almost useless. So what we have to do is what I've done, or I don't have to do, but what I've done at Chimp Food is I've taken all of it and thrown it into a blender. And somehow or another, through the magic of nature, it tastes delicious.
You're making me hungry, Scott. I want you to know that. Yeah,
it's really, really, really good. It's not bitter once you throw it in a blender and mix it with other things.
Yeah. Now, also, it seems to me that it's very important to eat a lot of protein. Is there protein in the foods that you described?
According to 70 billion healthy answers, we have the healthy animals. We have the perfect amount of protein. Let me give you an example. If you look on a standard American diet, about half of the plate is normally meat, or let's call it protein, right? 50% protein. So let me give you some staggering statistics on that. Some of the largest land animals on Earth, all of them eat 5% protein. Elephants, rhinoceroses, and hippos get 5% protein. Racehorses and cows and bulls get 5% protein. Moose and deer and antelope and bison get 5% protein. Chimps, orangutans, and gorillas get 5% protein. I could go on and on and on, but most animals get 5%. I'll give you another great example. No one in the history of the world has ever been sick from lack of protein. No one's ever gone to a hospital in the history of humans for lack of protein. In the history of humans, no one has ever died from protein deficiency. And in fact, if you never really get protein again, there's not one disease related to protein deficiency. Another interesting thing, we need protein for bones, muscles, and tissues. Our greatest need for protein is when we're babies, because we start off at 8 pounds and soon we're doubled to 16 pounds, and then we double to 32 pounds. So in our younger years, as we are doubling and tripling in size and weight, we need massive amounts of protein for our bones, our muscles, and our tissues. That's when we need the most protein. So most of the time when we're doubling and tripling in size, we're under 2 years old and we're drinking mother's breast milk. And mother's breast milk would be the perfect amount of protein for us to double and triple in size through the first 2 years of our lives when we need the most protein ever. Yeah. So you would almost think that most people are getting 50% protein as we're adults. So a baby who's doubling and tripling in size, you probably think mother's breast milk has 90% protein. But the fact of the matter is, mother's breast milk has 6% protein.
That's it. Wow.
6. So if you get 6% protein, your bones, muscles, and tissues can double in size beautifully.
Now, Scott, what about minerals and vitamins? Because, you know, we need that to sustain our health. And you, of course, mentioned all these vegetables and nuts and you name it. But what about how many vitamins and minerals they have that are not made out of some synthetic thing?
You know, and I can only speak for the animals. They don't care about vitamins and minerals. They don't look at vitamin and minerals. They're not counting vitamins and minerals. If you want to be healthy, you copy healthy animals, and they're healthy. There are no vitamin and mineral labels on an orange, an apple, a banana, strawberry, blueberry, raspberry, an almond, a cashew, a pecan. It doesn't matter. Who cares? Just eat fruits all morning long. Eat salads all afternoon long. And munch on a handful of nuts and a palm full of seeds. Don't worry about vitamins. The 70 billion healthiest animals on this earth don't care about vitamins and minerals or nutrition facts or protein.
So if that's the case, then you would think that everybody would just want to eat all the things you're talking about, but you know, again, we're humans, and humans are, you know, they have their flaws, and so when they eat, say, meat and sometimes candy and sometimes ice cream and things of that nature, do you say, oh, come on, you're making a big mistake, or do you say, okay, you're entitled to eat a little bit of that at least?
Well, I mean, I see how bad people eat, and they're certainly not falling over and dying. I know that. I know people are eating hamburgers. I know people are going to McDonald's. What is it? 1/3 of American children eat fast food at least once a day. 1/3 of all children in America eat fast food every day. So, and they're not falling over and dying. Are they getting glasses? Yes. Almost every kid I see walking down the street, children have glasses on now. They have acne. They're overweight, but they're not dying. So I can tell you, me personally, I'm 53, I'm 6'2", I'm about 180 pounds. If I have a bowl of ice cream, I'm going to be okay. Mm-hmm. I'm as healthy as they can be. I'll be okay. Once a month I go to a birthday party and have a piece of cake. Mm-hmm. So I don't scuff at a celebration or a treat once a week. If I eat about 6 meals every day, in a week I have 42 meals. If one meal on Saturday night, I go out and have a date on Saturday night to a restaurant, and I indulge 1 out of 42, I think I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, so you're not depriving anybody of little extras and little treats. It sounds like you are realistic about, how people live. They can't always have what is the best thing for them, because sometimes, when they work in a certain place, there's not a great place to buy the veggies, and schools don't necessarily encourage it. In fact, look at what they serve. When in schools, they serve all processed food. Now, you have a company that can provide schools with very important and not only important but healthy food. So, what's the chance of schools, say, buying Chimp Food?
It would be great. I mean, kids love it. We're giving away free samples at Costco's and at Whole Foods, and I see kids, constantly that just drink the bottle. They look me in the eye and say, wow, this tastes great. Mm-hmm. And then I look at mom and say, wow, your kid just had chia seeds, flax seeds, hemp seeds, poppy seeds, almonds, cashews, pecan, pistachio. Mm-hmm. Your kid just had some kale and spinach and zucchini and pumpkin and squash. And wow, your kid's eating strawberries and blueberries and raspberries. And hey, let me pour you another cup. And the kid says, wow, I love this, Mom. Mm. So, I'm certainly on board. I'm on board to get this in school systems.
Yeah. Now I hear your passion, and that's important for business to have success. You have so much passion for this. Now, was it because you were overweight that the passion to get everybody healthy, and of course yourself? Where did it come from?
Fruits and veggies. My life has changed completely. I'm a freaking nut now almost. It's when you have no idea what it's like to eat my diet. You will zing with energy. You will lose weight. You'll get lean as can be. Your energy will go through the roof. You'll think differently. You'll see differently. You hear differently. I feel like a superhuman almost. Wow. People don't understand how unbelievably amazing you can feel and how amazing life can look and sound. It's just amazing when your body is clicking, how good you click.
Now, what about athletes? We talked about children, but what about athletes? Isn't this a perfect food for them?
Perfect. I mean, there's lots and lots of vegan bodybuilders, vegan Olympians, vegan athletes, vegan swimmers, vegan runners, vegan football players, vegan basketball players. Yeah, this is fantastic. I mean, I'm at 53 years old. I feel like I could go out there and play basketball like any 18-year-old. It's amazing because when you eat meat, you go bleh. Yeah. And when you eat pasta and bread, you're like bleh. Mm-hmm. And you want to compete against me? I'm eating bananas and apples and oranges. I'll run circles around you, pal.
Right.
You go home and eat a big thing of potatoes or carrots or all those starchy vegetables. Blah. Because when I say vegetables, I keep one thing: no vegetables underground. No animals eat foods underground, such as potatoes, carrots, onions, peanuts, ginger, garlic, beets, radishes. No animals on earth will touch them.
Well, we're told, Scott, we're always told that it's healthy to eat carrots, that it contains carotene and it helps your eyes.
No animal. All I can tell you is healthy, 70 billion healthy animals will not touch a carrot. Not even a rabbit will touch a carrot without a human's help. Mm-hmm. And now you have humans where 50% are going to die from only 3 things: heart attack, strokes, or cancer. Right. Who are you going to listen to?
Yeah.
I don't. That's a problem. Where do we get our advice from? From usually doctors who are overweight, wearing glasses, and really horribly unhealthy.
Yeah. Yeah, and they don't teach in medical schools good nutrition. That's one of the things that's lacking in our medical schools.
Well, we don't need to teach anybody. Eat fruits all day long, salads all afternoon long, and eat nuts and seeds.
Yeah.
I mean, I can go teach this class in 10. I just taught your listeners a whole nutrition class.
Right. Now, what about a book? Is that in store for you?
I wrote a book. I have a book. It's called The Chimp Diet. It's available on our website. It's available on Amazon, and it's a great little book. It's a soft cover, and it's everything that I'm talking about in great detail. And it talks a little bit more of why we shouldn't eat meat, that we're not carnivores, why we're not carnivores, what happens when we eat meat. Same with dairy. When we take dairy products, we're not made to eat milk from a cow. We're not made to eat grains. No animals on earth eat grains such as wheat, rice, corn, oats. No animals on earth eat beans, legumes such as black beans, red beans, pinto beans, kidney beans, navy beans. No animals on earth eat coconuts. They won't touch a coconut water, coconut milk, coconut meat, nothing coconut. Food's underground. So they don't cook their foods. They don't process their foods. They don't juice their foods. So my book goes into detail on all of that.
Wow. Now, if people want to learn more about Chimp Foods, do you have a website?
Sure, chimpfood.com. And everything about the book is on there as well.
And if they want a speaker, are you available to speak about this with the passion that you're speaking on my show?
Well, when I'm live, then I'm really fired up. Sure, I am. I do speaking engagements a lot. I have one coming up Monday night. I'll be at the Whole Foods. Whole Foods has a big lecture room, a seminar room in Wellington, Florida. In fact, Susan, I think is fairly close to you. I'd love to have you come over there. Whole Foods on Monday night at 7.
I will.
I will be at the Broward County Convention Center. I believe that is February 18th. I'll be speaking at the Green Planet Festival.
Green Planet Festival.
That's it. Yep, the Green Planet Festival. It's a huge event at the Broward County Convention Center. Chimp Food will have a booth there and giving away free samples. And I'll be speaking there, I believe, at either 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock. I have a 1-hour class there, a seminar that I'll be giving. It's a free once you pay your admission to the entire day event.
Is all this on your website?
Yes. If it's not on our website, it's our Facebook. We're actually a little bit more active on our Facebook page, which is just Chimp Food, or my name is Scott Joseph, and you can easily find me through Chimp Food.
Now, are you intending to travel anywhere else around the country so that they have a chance to learn more about Chimp Food?
Well, if anytime anyone invites me, I'm there. You know, even though I have a company, and of course I'm trying to sell product, I'm very fortunate that financially I'm okay and I'm good. So my goal in life now, as I enter my golden years here, is to educate people on exactly what we're talking about here today. You know, this is a great platform, and what you have, and this is what I want to do the rest of my life, is just teach people, how to get healthy and avoid, stay nice and skinny and lean and have lots of energy. And I've never been sick one day since I started this diet, which has been about 2 or 3 years.
Wow.
Not one headache, not one cold, not one sniffle have I had in 3 years. And the more and more I'm here, I believe it's going to be impossible for me to ever get sick.
Well, I'm just so pleased that Scott Joseph was my guest today on the Susan Brender Show. Scott has so much to offer, and I want everybody to recognize that Chimp Food is the thing of the future, and it is just plain good. So, thank you so much, Scott, and I really appreciate your giving all your passion and your discussion and your information and education to our audience. Thank you for being on the Susan Brender Show.
Well, Susan, thank you for having me, and I appreciate all the time your listeners have sat here and listened to us today.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Susan Brender Show. To be a guest, email sebrender@yahoo.com.